All right, good morning, class. Welcome back to Advanced Algebra 1. Today is Monday, April the 13th. We are looking at Proverbs 8:31 today. Reads, "Rejoicing in his inhabited world, and my, or wisdom's delight, was with the sons of men," which is great to know that we have wisdom available to us. Today, we're looking in section 9.5, which is titled Solve the Quadratic Equations, which we've been doing. But this is by the complete the square method. So it's a different way. You can check your work the old way, which is how I'm going to begin this particular guided practice number 4. We will check it the old way, and then we're going to work it a new way. Yes, all your work today has to be worked the new method or the new way to you. The only way you would have seen completing the square is if you are a transfer in from another school. Otherwise, you have not done this. We're going to do 2 examples today. You may need to go back and look at them more than once, okay? I've set it up in steps, which is a little different than they do in the text, but you're welcome to look at the examples in the text as well. So this first example for you, again, is guided practice number 4, found on page 606, and it reads x squared, which means it's a quadratic equation, minus 2x equals 3. And so I want to know what 2 values will plug into this equation and make it true. You know the old method, which is taking everything to the left-hand side, and see if we can actually factor it by setting it equal to 0. So we're looking for 2 binomials, 2 factors of -3 that sum together to give us -2, which a -3 and a +1 will work. These are called the factors. Some of you are asking, what are factors? What multiplies together to give us 0? These are factors. These zeros, the solutions, the roots, the answers, all the same terminology. The zeros for this particular quadratic equation are +3 and -1, which is great. If you plug them back in, 3 squared minus 6 equals 3, so that one works. -1 squared is 1, plus 2 equals 3. So they both work. They're both solutions. You guys know what this looks like now. These are zeros, or where it crosses the x-axis, at +3, -1. You guys know how to find the axis of symmetry by dividing this distance in half, picking out the x value, plugging it in, and finding the vertex, or a minimum, because this particular quadratic equation opens up. It is a positive x squared. Today we're going to learn a different method to solve quadratic equations. I think I've got it down where you can see the end of the board. All right. Same equation, just worked a different way. So, if it were given to you in the format x squared minus 2x equals a +3, the first thing we would do is isolate the quadratic and linear terms from the constant. Let's go back. And let's say it started as x squared minus 2x minus 3 equals 0. Okay, it does not, but let's say that it did. Isolating means that you've got the x squared by itself. That's a quadratic term. This is the linear term, because it's an x to the first power. If we're isolating it, these 2 are by themselves. We're going to put in a blank space. We're going to set it equal to, and we're going to take the 3 to the other side, which is actually how the problem starts. Also put in a blank space, okay? Step number 2, take 1/2 of. Of means multiply. We're going to take 1/2 and we're going to multiply it times the linear coefficient. -2 is the coefficient to the linear term. So for us, we're taking 1/2, we're multiplying, that's what means 1/2 of -2. So it's 1/2 times -2, which equals a -1. So that is step number 2. Take 1/2 of the linear coefficient. Okay. Step number 3 says take this value that we found. Okay, in step number 2, we're taking that value that we found in step number 2, and we're going to square it. That means we're going to take -1 and square that value. What is -1 times -1? It's a positive 1. Okay, so that's 1/2 of the linear term, -1. Then it's the -1 squared. So this is step 3 in blue. Then it says add it to both sides of the equation. So I'm going to add 1, that's what the blank was for. It's also what this blank is for. I'm doing it to both sides of the equation. All right, step number 4 says factor the left-hand side. Okay, well, what does that mean? It means I'm going back. I've got an x squared minus 2x plus 1 equals 4 now. And I want to factor the left-hand side. So I'm looking for 2 binomials. We're going to keep the 4 on this side. I'm looking for 2 binomials that multiply together to give me this trinomial. Positive product, but a negative sum. So this is going to be x and x. Okay? For it to be a positive product and a negative sum, they both have to be subtract. The only factors of 1 are 1 and 1. And double checking, -1x plus another -1x, or inside plus outside, equals this middle term. So that is absolutely what I was looking for. I'm going to rewrite it as x minus 1, that quantity squared, equals 4. And that's going to be really important that you do that step. Okay? Step number 5. We're going to take this same equation. I'm rewriting it in another color so you can see what I'm doing. And we're going to take the square root of it. This is the square roots method. And you're going to say, this is a lot of work. Yes, it is. Get x minus 1 equals plus or minus 2. You are almost through with your work. Okay? Almost. Separate this out. We know we're looking for 2 answers. Okay? X equals plus or minus 2. Take the 1 to the other side. Or add 1. Okay? So your 2 answers are x equals positive 2 plus 1. And x equals negative 2 plus 1. Which is 3 and -1. Same answers we got by factoring. This is called completing the square.